Hi, it's Zodamyx. This is my first video that I'm talking in, so we'll see how this goes. Sorry if the audio sounds bad, I'm using my headset with a piece of fabric on the mic to record. So I just drew this yesterday. The idea popped in my head to draw my monster characters just hanging out at a bar. These are like the three main monster characters that I would just make a bunch of sketches of, and they've gone through multiple redesigns too. Here, like, I was going to try and draw them in different art styles with different line art, but once I started like using a thinner pen on one of them, I ended up just using that as the line art for the full drawing. So, for some backstory on how I came up with these guys, I drew them back in middle school, so they looked terrible at the time. The idea was to make them into nightmare creatures for a story I called The Worst Nightmares. Such a creative name I came up with at the time, I know. But then later on in like high school, I started redesigning them, and I also had changed a bit of the lore by giving them trauma, as every great OC is created. Now they're just monsters with more personality that are just chillin' instead of nightmares invading people's brains. The snake character is named Rinu. He's based on a gorgon and a dragon. His older design was inspired by Gwendolyn from Dark Souls, and he used to be bald, but I gave him snakes for hair, and then I changed those to just be like snake tail things for hair instead, because I didn't want to draw every single snake head. The tattoo he has is supposed to be like a snake with wings. There's gonna be some lore behind that. I still need to come up with it for what the tattoo's supposed to represent, but I don't know, I was thinking like some spiritual thing they have, I don't know. But I still need to come up with the story for that. But it's basically supposed to be like what creature he is in a way, like the species or race, I don't know what to call it, but he's just a flying snake. I gave him feathered wings at some point, and then I took them away because I thought it would be too much, but I might bring them back only because of I just designed the tattoo with feathered wings right there. So, he's gonna have to go through another redesign. The next character is called Odie, or Odd. He's the one that looks like a skeleton with horse ears right there, with the big fluffy hair. He's based on La Ciguanaba and a scorpion, but that's not his true form. He just shapeshifts to look like his sisters and his mom, since he's the odd one out. That's also part of why he's just called Odd. His original design was him being a pink wad of gum, being a shape-shifting candy-producing monster. Now that design is just how he looks like when he's younger, minus the candy. But some of those traits also still play into his newer design, just not this form since it's not really how he looks. And finally there's Sal, the angry looking seal. He's based on a Selkie and Nessie, being able to shapeshift between a human and seal form. He can also stretch out his neck to look more like the Loch Ness Monster. He was originally a Jack-in-the-Box monster who looked pretty happy at the time, but now he's just an angry little seal guy. He has a bit of an obsession with clown-related stuff, so he dresses up as one, at least by wearing makeup and a colorful sweater, which contrasts with his personality. Now that we got some of the lore out of the way, let's talk about the drawing process. Spoiler, there's more lore. So, while doing the line art, I kinda struggled with like some of the proportions, and I had to pause a few times to look up how like certain features should look. So like here I'm looking up what a horse's teeth looks like, which with how I actually sketched Odd's teeth before, it's accurate to a horse. They have huge ass teeth. I just gave him fangs because he's like part arachnid, so that kind of plays into like his actual form. And then here, like, I was looking up, I wanted to make the characters more accurate to like the type of animal they're based on. So I was pausing a few times to search up what their eyes look like. So for Sal's eyes, they're kind of scary with seals. I wasn't prepared to see what a close-up of a seal's eye looked like. But the pupils are like tiny little slits, but only, I guess, in daylight. And then when it's underwater, they're like big ol' orbs. They're just glowing or something. I don't know. Well, I mean, the glowing part was just from the camera. But it kind of matches with Sal being angry looking. It just makes him like kind of scarier, I guess, more intimidating with how small the pupils are. But the iris is dark, so it kind of makes it hard to see the actual pupil. Then with Odd's eyes, horse eyes, I guess, just have like rectangle shaped pupils and are kind of dark where the whites of the eyes usually are. And then for Rinu's eyes, they're just slits, vertical ones, like a venomous snake. He's supposed to be venomous, so he has more sharper details. At this point, I'm coloring the characters in, but I had forgotten that I made a finished drawing in color of Odd. And I made his skin like a yellowish color just to match a type of scorpion. I forgot the name of the scorpion. I think it was just yellow scorpion. But I accidentally made him pink here for a second. I had to go back in and change it there to make it more yellow. The reason I made him pink was because that was a part of his old design. He had like a pink color to him, because he was supposed to be like a wad of gum. And then for his clothes, I just gave him like a dark blue shirt and purple gloves. You can barely see his clothes. You can only see the shirt and glove. And then next I work on like Rinu's color palette. Here I was like switching between different colors because I had no idea what color to use for his skin. Is like in my mind I came up with the color palette, but it was like based on his original design just being like pale or something, pale white, and then at some point it was like yellow. So here I just went with green. Why green? I don't know. Probably just because he's a snake. It makes sense with him being a snake. Also because it's supposed to be like he has jade scales. I mostly just ended up making him green because I thought the color green would look cool on him. And I just like the color green. I thought it would look nice. I haven't actually like planned out the colors that much for my characters. I haven't like drawn any concepts with colors added to them. I only just like pictured them in my head and thought, yeah, that looks good. That looks about right for them. And then like once I actually get to drawing them and adding color, then it's like, oh, that probably wouldn't look good on them. So here I'm just like figuring out what color palettes they should have. The default for like earrings is just yellow. Or for like any other kind of piercing, whether it's like a body piercing or just, I don't know, hair piercing. For Rinu, he has like piercings in his hair, whatever you'd call it. I don't know what you'd actually call that type of hair, because it's not actually hair, like it's not the strands or anything. So I don't know what you'd even call it. I mean, I'm just referring to it as hair because like that's what you normally view it as. But point is, like, for some monsters, they're able to just pierce their hair like that. Because since it's not actually like the strands, it's just this like muscle or something, muscle mass growing out of their head. And for like most of them, they just have no pain receptors in them, so they could just like chop it off and they'll be fine. And it'll just like grow back. I need to write down the lore somewhere because it's just sitting in my brain. The ideas. I need to write down the ideas so I don't forget them later. Here I just like recolored Rino's shirt. Well, not his shirt, his sweater. His shirt's about the same, it's pink, but I thought red and pink would actually look good with green as their complementary colors. For Sal's color palette, I wanted to actually make it look more like a seal. In my mind, his face was like all white and then he had clown makeup, but then I wanted to actually depict him as more seal-like, or just show that he's a seal, make it more obvious. So I ended up just changing his face. It's still like somewhat white, but it has like a cool tone to it, so it's like more blue. And he has these dark blue spots on his face. They're kind of like freckles. He's supposed to be based on a spotted seal. So he's supposed to have like freckles on his face, and I had to look up what a spotted seal looks like so I can actually get the colors right. So like there's multiple variations though. I didn't know which one to reference, so I just like mixed them up or something. Putting some spots on the face, like their freckles, and then just they would all have like the bottom of their face, like where they're starting with their nose and their eyes, is just like white, but then on their forehead to the top of their nose and along their back, it's just like a dark blue, like a grayish color. So I ended up like adding that to Sal, giving him dark blue hair, and then I added the more clown related stuff, like having a colorful sweater and clown makeup. And now we're getting to the point of the video where something went wrong with the recording. I had to like get up to go eat dinner, so I just like left my computer recording the whole time for, I don't know, 30 minutes or an hour. And I think I had like disconnected my tablet from the computer, and that might have been a part of like how the recording got all messed up. When I was editing the recordings together and I got to this second recording here, and I knew at this point this is when like I got up to go eat dinner, so I thought, okay, I'm just gonna fast forward through it and figure out which frame I need to get to like slice it and then get rid of the rest of the frames, like the longer parts. And thought, wow, this is a really long time I've been eating for, like when do I get back to drawing? And then I realized, like, or I think maybe it's just not loading it right. But then after a while of waiting, I realized, oh no, I go back to like the actual recording I made, like the file. I open it and watch it, like just scroll to like the end, and I realized that something had gone wrong and the recording just stopped. Like it stopped working and is stuck on this one like image the whole time. So since I'm just missing the rest of the recording, I'm just going to have to reopen the art file to take screenshots to show what else I've added to the drawing. So here's the screenshot of how it ended up looking after I finished coloring it and adding all the shading. And then here are a few screenshots of how it was starting to look After I had added some layers on top with soft light and screen blending modes to make it look like they're in dim lighting at the bar. And then I wanted to make it look like a photo, so I added a texture on top to look like the picture had been wrinkled on the corners and was smudged a little bit. The blend layers actually make it look like the camera had the flash on, and the drawing is finished. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. I'll be sure to stop the recording next time so that it doesn't get all messed up again. And that's about it for the video. Thanks for watching. Don't know how else to end this, so bye.